Kevan Collins and I'm the Chief Executive of the Education Endowment Foundation based in London in the UK. So I lead an independent charity which was very lucky because it was endowed with £125 million by the British government. We intend to spend a considerable amount of money, about £200 million over 15 years, trying to understand how do you raise the attainment of the most disadvantaged children in England's schools. And principally, how do you do that? By building evidence, what works, by diffusing that knowledge, spreading that knowledge to others, and by mobilising this so that teachers have the power to kind of do the right things in their classroom to support these children. I think it's ironic that as a kind of profession of educators, we're not actually very good at learning from each other. And education is quite a sticky territory to move knowledge around. And we see in many schools, so for example, in 1 in 7 schools in England, in the secondary schools, the children from disadvantaged communities do as well as all children in England. So we have these bright spots in systems. But what we're not very good at is moving that around so that all schools learn from each other. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, that schools sometimes believe that it has to be homegrown. There's something unique about our water and our children, and we have to kind of get over that and say we can learn from each other, let's make that happen. The second is that we seem to sometimes get locked into practices which aren't very good at adapting and reviewing and innovating. You kind of get tied down by a particular set of rituals in your own institution. We need to keep that open. And I think thirdly, we're not very good at, when we make a change, evaluating its impact, so that we can say, do you know what, that isn't working, let's stop doing that and create space for doing something else. Teachers and schools are overloaded. We do too much in my view, and we do too many things that actually don't make enough difference. So how do we open up space so we can innovate? So there's lots of barriers to innovation. So what we need to work out and what we're working on is, how can you lubricate the system so people can move this knowledge around, learn from each other with a consistent language, and that's where the evidence bit comes in. That gives us the language to start the conversation. Well, I'm here in Australia for the Education Dialogue, and what's fascinating about moving evidence around or learning is that we need to forget not only the walls of my school but the borders of my nation, because this dialogue is completely an international exchange between teachers. And what's great about our profession, of course, is that it's fairly universal. You know, if I'm teaching an 8-year-old to do multiplication of fractions, I know that I can go to a school in Australia, a school in England, a school in France, and see teachers with 8-year-olds grappling with that same universal question. And the problem with our current sort of systems is we're not very good at having these conversations between teachers, between systems. And what's great about the dialogue is we open this up. We share our challenges, but we also share some of our successes. And that seems to me to be a kind of fundamental if we're really going to move beyond the experience or the anecdote of my history and broaden it right out to the history and stories of teachers and schools globally.